It's now my pleasure to introduce a congressman who is representing Jeff Miller, the chairman of the House Veterans Committee, and that is Congressman Flores. Congressman, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you, Chairman Sanders. As you heard earlier, my name is Bill Flores. I am honored to serve as the chairman of the Economic Opportunity Subcommittee of the Veterans Affairs Committee in the House, and I am here today in place of Jeff Miller, who is unable to attend due to a hearing in the Armed Services Committee on Syria. He sends his regrets and he welcomes you here today. As both the son and the son-in-law of veterans, it is my pleasure to be here today to welcome the American Legion's new National Commander, Dan Dellinger. Commander Dellinger is accompanied this morning by his lovely wife, Margaret. It is my pleasure to welcome you. It's also my privilege to welcome the National President of the American Legion Auxiliary, Ms. Nancy Brown Park. The American Legion Auxiliary is responsible for many activities and advocacy initiatives to support families of service members and veterans. Your work ensures that their continued sacrifices do not go unrecognized. Several individuals here today, like me, are proud to call the Lone Star State home. And if you're Texas, would you please, from Texas, would you please stand or wave? Don't be shy. There you go. So, thank you. I'd also like to extend a special welcome to my constituent, Ms. Jerry Hintz from Bryan, Texas. Thank you for taking time to travel as part of the delegation. The American Legion's advocacy for veterans sets an example for every American, veteran and non-veteran alike, to follow. America is great because of people like you, good neighbors who support our heroes with actions, not just words. To help with that mission of service, the House Committee is focusing on three elements this fall that respond to veterans' needs. First, crafting meaningful legislation that will improve the lives of veterans and families. Second, keeping the pressure on the administration to reduce the backlog of disability benefits. And finally, demanding accountability for VA's repeated patient safety violations. Like all of the American Legion members, this committee would like to see passage of the GI Tuition Fairness Act of 2013. Our committee has passed a bill to make it possible for more out-of-state veterans to pay in-state tuition at public universities. It is because of the efforts of Legion members and others on the local level that many states already extend in-state tuition to all veterans. But more must be done, and we hope this bill will become law soon. We are also working on bills to improve the Transition Assistance Program, or TAP as it's more commonly known, to extend the Veterans Retraining Assistance Program, or VRAP, to provide for its advanced funding for all VA discretionary accounts, improve the Transition Assistance Program, and guarantee the privacy of veterans while staying at VA facilities. We are also working on reauthorizing needed homeless programs, increasing the VA's ability to pay for medical foster homes, among many other legislative proposals. The American Legion has offered support to these efforts on several levels, and I thank you. As a responsive and strategically managed VA is vital to all of these goals. As you are aware, the current backlog of disability benefits is certainly not a new challenge, and I welcome the news that VA has made some progress in eliminating the backlog. However, our committee is not convinced that the current strategies are truly making a permanent dent in the backlog. Even if quantity were the only measurable benchmark, the VA is still falling short. Simple math indicates that at current rates of production and claims being filed, the VA needs at least an instantaneous 40% increase in production to meet Secretary Shinseki's goal of eliminating the backlog by 2015. I also believe that a lack of accountability at many facilities is the root of VA's performance problems. In the last year, we have seen far too many instances where failure to provide prompt or proper medical treatment has resulted in numerous preventable deaths, including suicides. Instead of holding people accountable, Department officials seem to be content to issue bureaucratic slaps on the wrist, or in some cases, inexplicably provided managers with bonuses. VA should replace, not reward, such bureaucrats with leaders who will enforce safety and health standards that all veterans deserve. Substandard care for veterans will not be tolerated, and managers must and will be held accountable. Ultimately, VA must adopt greater measures of transparency to uphold its sacred trust with the veteran community. The House VA Committee will continue to demand long-term solutions from the VA, and we are committed to establishing avenues through which that accountability can become reality. Finally, I would like to thank you for bringing to the committee's attention the recent decision by the IRS to target veteran service organizations for additional scrutiny when applying for tax-exempt status. I promise you that unfair treatment of veteran service organizations will not be tolerated, and we will continue to work hand in glove with the Legion to continue to examine this issue in more detail in the coming weeks. In closing, I appreciate all of you, your efforts to travel to Washington, D.C. to be with us today, and I pledge to keep the lines of communication open to effectively serve our veterans together. Thank you, Commander, for your work and your support. I look forward to your testimony, and God bless America. God bless our veterans.